Hi, and welcome to Health Effects, your stop for public health news and content. I'm your host, Nicole. Today's topic is fear-based campaigning. Remember those creepy PSAs from your childhood, like this one?
Nothing will ever be the same again.
And this one?
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs.
Ever wonder why they're still a thing? Well, our story begins in the brain. When scientists want to look at learning and memory, they often look at good old-fashioned classical conditioning, usually through fear. This is one of the fastest and shortest learning pathways, which makes sense in human evolution. Caveman touches fire. Ouch, fire bad. Donald Trump meets an intelligent woman. Ouch, masculinity hurt. It should come as no surprise that public health has exploited this pathway to change certain unhealthy behaviors. For example, you want people to stop smoking? Don't show them studies and statistics. Scare the absolute shit out of them. Show them cancer, crying children, social rejection. It's fast, it's cheap, it's the quick and dirty way of half-assing a real intervention. Similarly, if you want to prevent HIV, just make your audience homophobic, like how the New York Department of Health thought this was a good idea.
When you get HIV, it's never just HIV. You're at a higher risk to get dozens of diseases even if you take medications, like osteoporosis, a disease that dissolves your bones, and dementia, a condition that causes permanent memory loss. And you're over 28 times more likely to get anal cancer. It's never just HIV. Stay HIV-free. Always use a condom.
Did anyone else see that? The dude's brain shriveled up like a fucking raisin. So basically, because gay men have anal sex, their bones will dissolve and their brains will melt, leaving them to die alone of anal cancer. This literally sounds like the worst zombie porno plot ever. Or the best. And who can forget ads from the Montana Meth Project like this one? Before meth, I had a daughter. Now I have a prostitute. Wow, way to stigmatize meth addicts, sex workers, and women all in one go. Because, you can't be both a sex worker and a daughter. That's not a thing. When we use fear to create this simple association, we learn to instinctively conflate, for example, gay men and HIV, or meth and literally anything that could possibly go wrong in your life. We learn to stigmatize first and maybe, but probably not, understand the context later. After all, this is classical conditioning doing its job. The dog hears the bell, expects food, and salivates. Similarly, some people see a gay person, they feel repulsed or scared, and they think that that person has HIV. With these ethical drawbacks, you must be wondering, does fear even work? One study from 2000 on the Massachusetts anti-smoking media campaign has served as the basis for the continued use of fear. The study found that 12 to 13-year-olds exposed to anti-smoking television ads had half the odds of starting smoking compared to their peers who were exposed to radio and outdoor advertisements. In related news, those same exposed 12 to 13-year-olds were also found to be heavily influenced by Even Stevens, Britney Spears, and meanhead cheerleader Becky Elizabeth Johnson. Basically, what doesn't influence a 12 to 13-year-old? 5 years later, in 2005, researchers looked at 354 interventions targeting increased condom use. They found that fear-based campaigns were the least effective method at changing behavior compared to counseling, education, behavioral skills training. These sorts of interventions are, yes, more efficacious long-term. However, they're generally more expensive, they take longer to implement, and they have more limited outreach. Researchers also found that fear-based PSAs had the opposite effect and led to decreased condom use. A similar phenomenon is often observed in most horror films. If you tell a white person not to open a haunted box, they will open that haunted box. Then all their bones will dissolve, their brains will melt, leaving them to die alone of anal cancer. So what is the truth? Does fear work or does it not? Finally, in 2009, researchers conducted a huge meta-analysis of 98 studies examining the effectiveness of fear-based campaigns. These were studies that included anti-drinking and driving, anti-smoking, and safer sex. They found that there was a small but statistically significant desired change in behavior. Quote, fear appears to have a relatively weak but reliable effect on attitudes, intentions, and behaviors. So, public health's use of fear is basically like using ketchup as a replacement for marinara sauce. You know it's not right, it grosses most people out, but its reliability and easy-to-use packaging just narrowly make up for its overall mediocrity. Because why spend $2.50 on ragu when ketchup's just sitting in the fridge? One of the largest problems with using fear to change people's behavior, other than glaring ethical problems, is the law of diminishing returns. Generally, the more scary PSAs you watch, the more scared you become. However, after too many scary PSAs, you're less and less likely to experience shock and emotional distress, which, if we remember, are desired responses. Similarly, there is an optimal amount of Chipotle you can eat before the E. coli and salmonella start to give you diarrhea. But seriously, who does Chipotle's marketing? Because they've admitted to giving people food poisoning multiple times, but I keep going back whenever they text me a BOGO. Is using fear sustainable? Is public health doomed to keep using fear tactics even though they come at a social cost? Joining us to look at a few of these questions is Dr. Jane Bogart, Professor of Health Promotion at Columbia University. Hi, Jane, and welcome to Health Effects. Lovely to have you here.
Thanks, I'm delighted to be here.
It sounds like instead of, yes, you're going to get really scared, but on top of that, you're going to have this stigma towards, say, gay people or people who are obese.
Yeah. So sometimes in fear campaigns, they vilify the person versus the behavior. So, for example, a lot of ads around obesity or fear of it's trying to instill, let's say, fear of obesity, will have images of obese people without heads. So you just kind of see their stomachs or their bodies, and it sort of creates this otherness around it, and I think makes it easier or more accessible for people to stigmatize that kind of body. And the complexity of what causes obesity gets lost in that sort of you will be this horrible thing that, we all don't want to be.
Like a headless obese body.
Exactly.
If you don't take the stairs.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right.
But clearly the remedy is taking the stairs, and of course some people can't take the stairs, so then those people are doubly stigmatized. I'm supposed to take them and I can't take them, and now I'm going to end up as this headless person, and it's awful.
Yeah, then why even bother?
Exactly.
Always take the elevator. I mean, thank you so much, Jane.
You're so welcome.
And I have one more question to ask you. Are you ready to play the 1 minute $10 challenge?
Oh my goodness, I've been waiting to play this all day. Yes, I am.
Okay, let's get started.
Fear-based campaigns are to be used judiciously and carefully and in conjunction with theory. But don't get it twisted. The remedy must meet the fear, and you need to use it with a group that you know responds to fear. Fear-based campaigns are not to be used for everyone.
Well done, Jane.
Thank you.
And as a reward, you get this crisp $10. Here you are. Actually, I just remembered something. Because you are a cis white woman, you're actually going to be receiving only $7.60. So here you go.
What? Are you? That's ridiculous.
Is it?
Today's episode of Health FX is brought to you by the bougie white word of the day, bougie. Bougie, adjective. Derived from the French term bourgeoisie, meaning middle class. This truncated form means extravagantly snobby to the point of pretentiousness, used in a sentence. Chadwick is so bougie. He is a self-proclaimed connoisseur of microbrewed beer, monogrammed attire, and Ivy League football records. For more information about bougie, please visit your local Whole Foods market.